Hey friend, welcome. This is the first video of a mobility video series that I've created for you. There are 12 different videos and they are designed to increase mobility and flexibility work in your daily routine. Now these videos are meant to be short and sweet and will cover different stretches, different mobility drills to help your body feel less painful, less achy, less sore from day to day, and increase your general flexibility. If you do them consistently, you should find that your body starts to feel a little bit better. I encourage you to use these videos as often as you like, but let's dive in. We're going to start really slow today. It will progress a little bit as we go from one video to the next, but let's just begin here on our knees. We are going to start with a very basic child's pose. So on our knees, we are going to start by opening up the knees just slightly. Feet are in contact together at the back. Hands come forward. Just give myself a bit more space here. Lowering into our hips. Palms come down. And we're just going to hang out here for a little while. Okay, nothing too crazy. If you're doing this, at the beginning of the day or after a work day, this part should feel really nice. It's meant to relax you more than anything else. Really feeling those shoulders widen as you lean forward. That lower back should feel quite nice at this point. Keep it up, keep going. We only have a few more seconds left. Good, twinkle those fingers a little bit, get a bit more sensation through the arms. Coming up nice and slowly, we're going to move to a 4-point kneeling position and we're going to do a few cat-cows. So feet nice and flat, wrists in line with shoulders. We are going to start by dropping the belly, chin comes up, and then switching, drawing that belly button in, rounding out the shoulders, pressing them as high as we can. Good, and you can even play around with some twisting a little bit. Listen to what your body is telling you and craving. And just alternating between the two. Good, keep it up. A few more. Doing amazing. We're almost there. Notice if you start to feel yourself loosening up a bit here. Good, last one. Good, bringing it back to neutral. Now nice and gentle. You're going to bring yourself on to your back here. We are going to do a lying glute stretch. So on your back, shoulders nice and relaxed. You're going to bring up one leg. Just keep track so you can switch for next time. The knee is going to come out. You should feel a stretch across the hip flexor, If that feels like quite intense, then I want you to just stay there. But if you have the room for it, we're going to lift up the leg, intertwine the fingers, and this should feel like a glute stretch now. Focusing on your breath here, focusing on pressing that knee out. You know, if we're quite tight in our hips, sometimes our knees are really stuck here, so we want to focus on pushing that out gently. Keep it up. If you need a little bit more of a stretch, you can always pull that knee a little closer. Good, bringing it down nice and gentle. Switching sides. You're always more than welcome to pause the video if you want to spend a bit more time with the stretch. Same thing, we're thinking about pressing that knee out, core nice and tight, lifting through the opposite leg, interlocking the arms. One side might feel slightly tighter than the other, and that's okay. Just meet your body where you're at. Nice and gently, we're going to release that down. You can come to your side if you need to, gently bringing yourself back up. We are going to come to a 90 and 90 degree position with the legs. You're going to start by thinking about scooping your bum underneath. So we want to think not about arching our pelvis or pushing our belly out, but tucking it all in. 90 and 90 at the legs. Now right away, if you are squeezing that glute, pushing those hips, sinking them underneath, you should feel a stretch across that leg. Okay, this is called an active hip flexor stretch because we are recruiting muscles to help us hold in that position. You can also lift up one arm if you want to feel it a tiny bit more. Slight lean sometimes can make you feel it as well. But it's really crucial that you are activating those muscles, otherwise it might not feel like all that much. And if, like me, if you want a wall or something to hold on to, that's also fine. Once we feel like we've gotten a good stretch here in this active position, we are going to bring that leg out a little bit farther, and this is where we are going to become more passive. So we're going to let that range of motion move where it wants to. We're no longer recruiting really any muscles to hold a position. We're just leaning into that as it feels right. Good, keep it up. This might feel really tight. Flexors are often quite tight on people. Bring it back nice and slowly, nice and gentle. We're going to switch sides, starting with that passive stretch again. So 90 and 90. You might see it a little bit better here on the camera now that I have this leg behind. But again, not pushing the bum out. We're sucking it in, core nice and tight, pressing into that hip, but making sure that glute actually keeps us from moving. And we should feel that really nice in the front of the leg, a little bit deeper maybe into that hip. Again, you can raise the arm if you want to feel it a little bit more. Good, one side might feel tighter than the other. I know for myself, this one does. We're going to move into that passive stretch now. So leg comes a little bit forward, leaning into that leg, letting it move as it wants to. Keeping chest nice and upright. We're trying not to lean forward here. Feel a nice stretch through that hip. as time goes on, you might even find your body kind of relaxes into it a bit more. Good. We're going to come to a seated position. This is our last mobility exercise for the day. Hands are going to be behind your body, feet in front, slightly wider than shoulder width apart. You're going to drop one leg. And we're just going to start with a couple where you're just doing the windshields. So this might feel really tight across that hip. Just do a few here, alternating, trying to get some movement into those hip sockets. Take your time here. This can be quite tight for people. Good, and when you feel like it's kind of loosened up a little bit, you're gonna stop on one side, try and check your legs, see if it is 90 and 90. Now you might find that this feels like a good enough stretch if you're leaning towards this knee. But if not, what you can do is actually come across and then lean forward a little bit as well. Now, I personally don't feel too big of a stretch leaning forward. It might feel different for you. I actually feel more of a stretch when I am kind of squaring myself to that opposite knee. So go with whatever makes sense for you here of the two. Or you can do a combination of both. That works too. Good, and when you feel like that's kind of released a little bit, you're gonna come back to that starting position, dropping now to the other side. Again, checking that the legs are 90 and 90. I'm just gonna face this way, 90 and 90. You have two options. So you can reach towards that bent leg, spend some time here, which on this side I do feel a bit more. Or you can take it up to that square position and focus on that front hip. And it's very common that one side might feel totally different to the other. That seems to be the case for me today. So whichever one is feeling a little more tight, hold there. Good, bring it back up. You can do a couple more windshields if you want. Good. And relax yourself out, shake it out, check in with yourself. How did this feel? Are you feeling maybe a little looser? Are you feeling a little bit more mobile? Pay attention to that. Pay attention to what is tight. Now, like I said, this will progress as we go into the next videos. So thank you so much for being with me here. If this was helpful, please let me know. I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next video.